It was supposed to be a regular afternoon. The sun was shining, kids were playing in the park, and everything seemed peaceful. But then I saw something that made my heart stop. A white woman, standing on the sidewalk, was on her phone. Her face was twisted with anger, and her eyes were locked onto a black teenage boy who was just sitting on a bench, minding his own business. He couldn't have been more than 15 or 16 years old. I noticed his hands were gripping his backpack straps tightly, like he could feel the tension in the air. Then, I heard her voice, sharp and cold. "Yes, I'd like to report someone suspicious in the park. He's been sitting here for a while, and I don't feel safe." My stomach turned. Suspicious? He was just sitting there. The boy looked up, his face filled with a mix of confusion and fear. He knew exactly what was happening. He had probably seen this before, heard the stories, maybe even been through it himself. And now, it was happening to him. Within minutes, the distant sound of sirens cut through the air. The woman smirked slightly, folding her arms like she had done something right. But before the police even arrived, another voice rang out, strong, unwavering, and filled with power. "Excuse me? Are you talking about my son?" Everyone turned. A black woman, dressed in business clothes, walked toward them with purpose. She was the kind of woman whose presence demanded respect. Her heels clicked against the pavement, but it wasn't just the sound, it was the way she carried herself. The woman on the phone froze. "Your son?" she stammered, suddenly unsure of herself. "Yes, my son. The one you just called the police on for sitting in a public park." Her voice was calm, but there was fire underneath. The boy stood up, relief washing over his face. "Mom," he started, but she put a hand up gently, signaling him to wait. The white woman opened her mouth, maybe to defend herself, maybe to backtrack. But the mother wasn't done. "You saw a young black boy alone, and your first instinct was to call the police? Did he do something to you? Did he threaten you?" She took a step closer. "Or did you just not like the way he looked sitting there?" The woman on the phone looked around as if searching for an escape. I just didn't know why he was here." "Because he lives here. Because this is his neighborhood. Because he has every right to sit in this park just like anyone else." The mother's voice didn't waver once. "Do you know how dangerous your actions are? Do you know what could have happened to my son if the wrong officers had shown up? Do you even care?" The woman swallowed hard, her face turning red. She tried to speak again, but no words came out. Then, the police arrived. 2 officers stepped out of their car, looking between the 3 of them. Before the woman could even try to explain, the mother turned to the officers, standing tall. "Officers, my son was sitting on a bench, minding his business. This woman called you for absolutely no reason. Do you need anything else?" One of the officers glanced at the boy, who was still clutching his backpack. He looked back at the mother, then at the woman who had made the call. Whatever he saw in her face must have been enough, because after a brief pause, he sighed. "Ma'am, is there a real emergency here?" The woman hesitated, her lips pressed together, and then she shook her head. "All right then, let's not waste resources on false alarms," the officer said, before turning back to his car. The mother let out a slow breath, then turned to her son. "Let's go home, baby." The boy nodded, and as they walked away, I saw something in his eyes, something beyond just relief. It was the kind of look a child has when they know, without a doubt, that their mother will always fight for them. And in that moment, I knew I had just witnessed a kind of power that no one could take away. As they walked away, the mother put a reassuring hand on her son's shoulder. "I want you to remember this moment," she said softly. "You never have to be ashamed of who you are. Never let anyone make you feel like you don't belong. You are strong, and you have every right to be in any space you choose." The boy nodded, his shoulders relaxing slightly as his mother's words sank in. The white woman still stood there, her face now a mixture of embarrassment and regret, but no one paid her any more attention. The world kept moving, and so did they. As I watched them disappear down the sidewalk, I felt a lump in my throat. This wasn't just about one afternoon in the park. This was about years, decades of fear, injustice, and pain. But it was also about strength, love, and the unbreakable bond between a mother and her child. And in that moment, I realized something important. Change doesn't always come in grand gestures or sweeping reforms. Sometimes it comes in moments like these. in a mother's unwavering voice, in a son's quiet resilience, and in the undeniable truth that they deserve to be seen, heard, and respected. Hey everyone, if this story moved you, if it made you think, or if it reminded you why we need to keep having these conversations, please take a moment to like this video. It really helps spread awareness. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below. Have you ever witnessed or experienced something like this? Let's talk about it. And if you believe stories like this deserve to be told, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're here to share real, powerful stories that need to be heard. Lastly, share this with your friends and family. The more people who see this, the more we can bring awareness and change. Thank you for watching and being part of this journey. Let's keep pushing forward, together.